Nikate Advaita Shrini Vasa Chatradhara Kiva Bosi Achegora Chan Radna Singhasane Kiva Bosi Achegora Chan Radna Singhasane Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Koshadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Koshadigaya Kiva Shankara Kiva Shankara Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Kiva Shankara Bhaje Ganta Bhaje Bhaje Karatala Madhura Medanga Bhaje Paramarasala Madhura Medanga Bhaje Paramarasala Kiva Bahu Kati Chandra Jini Vadana Ujwala Kiva Bahu Kati Chandra Jini Vadana Ujwala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Kiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Kiva Shiva Shukanarada Preme Gada Gada Pakati Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Madhusware, Jai Gaura Madhusware, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Gaura Madhusware, Jai Gaura Madhusware, Grihe tako, vane tako, sada hari, bole dako. Sada hari, bole dako, grihe tako, vane tako, sada hari, bole dako, vane tako, sada hari. Maya jale, hoye, acho miche, Suke duke, suke duke, bulonako, da 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 da. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Nam. Okay. Oh, okay. Loud singer. Huh? Nam, 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 nam. Namaste, namasimhaya. Pralada, lada, daine. Hiranyakashipur Vaksha. Shila Tankana Kalaye. Ito Nishimho Parato Nishimho. Yato yato yamitato nishimha. Bahir nishimho hirdaye nishimho. Narasimha marim saranam prapade. Tavakara kamalavare nakam adbhuta shringam. Talita hiranyakashipu tanubringam. Keshavadita narahari rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Lord Nrsimhadev ki,
Jai.
Prahlad Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Om Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshorhunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganha Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanha Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganha Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindan Vaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchya Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Hevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. We will now read a little bit from the Gita Upanishad, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And I'm not sure where we'll be starting tonight. You happen to know, Prabhu? Maybe 320. Let's get into the good part of chapter 3, entitled Karma Yoga. Chapter 20, text 20. Okay. You can stop me if it sounds familiar. If it's something we've done already, we can move on. But we'll read the Sanskrit together in unison. And transliteration and translation together. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim astita janakadaya lokasangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Translation. Even kings like Janaka and others attained the perfectional stage by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Text 21. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tad tad evetaro janaha sayat brahmanam gurute lokas tad anuvartate. Translation. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. You got it, Prabhu? Yeah. Okay. Text 22. Me partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva chakarmani. Translation. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in work. Text 23. Yadhyaham navarteyam jatu karmanyatandritaha mamhavartmanuvartante manushya partha sarvashaha. Translation. For if I did not engage in work, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Text 24. Utsidheyor himhe loka nakuryam karma chedaham Sankarasya Jakartasyam Upahanyam Hima Prajaha. Translation. If I should cease to work, then all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all sentient beings. Text 25. Sakta karmanya vidvamso yata kurvanti bharata varya vidvams tata saktash chakir shur loka sangraham. Translation. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, similarly the learned may also act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Text 26. Na buddhi bedham janayed agyanham karma sanginham joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharam. Translation. Let not the wise disrupt the minds of the ignorant who are attached to fruit of action. They should not be encouraged to refrain from work, but to engage in work in the spirit of devotion. Text 27. Prakrite kriyamanhani gunhai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimhudatma kartaham hiti manyate. Translation. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Text 28. Tatpavitu mahabaho gunha karma vibhagayoho gunha guneshu vartanta iti matva nasajjate. Translation. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, almighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work and devotion and work for fruitive results. Text 29. Prakriter guna samudha sajjante guna karmasu Tana kritsna vidho mandhan kritsna vina vichalayet. Translation. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. The wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Text 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. Translation. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with mind intent on me, and without desire for gain, and free from egoism and lethargy, fight. We'll read one more. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shradhavanto nashuyanto muchyante te pikarmabihi. Translation. One who executes his duties according to my injunctions and who follows this teaching faithfully without envy becomes free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Okay, back to text 20. Okay, we'll begin the translation and purport given to us by Srila Prabhupada. Translation text 20. Even kings like Janaka and others attained the perfectional stage by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Purport. Kings like Janaka and others were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform the prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they performed all prescribed activities just to set examples for the people in general. Janaka was the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Sri Ram. Being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendently situated. But because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of the Bihar province in India, he had to teach his subjects how to fight righteously in battle. He and his subjects fought to teach people in general that violence is also necessary in a situation where good arguments fail. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, every effort was made to avoid the war, even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the other party was determined to fight. So, for such a right cause, there is necessity for fighting. Although one who is situated in Krishna consciousness may not have any interest in the world, he still works to teach the public how to live and how to act. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow, and this is explained in the following verse. Text 21, the translation. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Purport. People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly even before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to reach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scripture. The revealed scriptures, like Manu Samhita and similar others, are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of the state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes. Text 22. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in work. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in the Vedic literature as follows. Tam Ishvaranham Paramham Maheshwaram Tam Devatanham Paramham Chadaivatam Patam Patim Patinham Paramham Parastad Vidam Devam Bhuvanesham Idyam Natasya Karyam Karanham Javidyate Na Tatsamascha Vyadikashcha Drishyate Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shuyate Swabhaviki Gyan Balak Jnana Balakriya Cha. Quote, the spiritual Lord is the controller of all other controllers, and he is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all demigods and is the supreme director of all directors. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. He does not possess bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. Shvatashvatara Upanishad 6, verses 7 and 8. Since everything is in full opulence in the personality of Godhead and is existing in full truth, there is no duty for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to perform. One who must receive the results of work has some designated duty. One who must receive the results of work has some designated duty. But one who has nothing to achieve within the 3 planetary systems certainly has no duty. And yet Lord Krishna is engaged on the battlefield of Kurukshetra as the leader of the Kshatriyas, because the Kshatriyas are duty-bound to give protection to the distressed. Although he is above all the regulations of the revealed scriptures, he does not do anything that violates the revealed scriptures. Text 23. Translation. For, if I did not engage in work, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Purport. In order to keep the balance of social tranquility for progress in spiritual life, there are traditional family usages meant for every civilized man. Although such rules and regulations are for the conditioned souls and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of religion, he followed the prescribed rules. Otherwise, common men would follow in his footsteps because he is the greatest authority. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna was performing all the religious duties at home and out of home, as required of a householder. Text 24. Translation. If I should cease to work, then all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would also be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all sentient beings. Purport. Varna Sankara is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society. In order to check this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized for spiritual progress in life. When Lord Krishna descends, naturally he deals with such rules and regulations in order to maintain the prestige and necessity of such important performances. The Lord is the father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided, indirectly the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is general disregard of regulative principles, the Lord himself descends and corrects the society. We should not, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footsteps of the Lord, we still have... I'm sorry, am I reading that right? Let's see. We should, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footsteps of the Lord, we still have to remember that we cannot imitate him. Following and imitating are not on the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting Govardhan Hill, as the Lord did in his childhood. It is impossible for any human being. We have to follow his instructions, but we may not imitate him at any time. The Srimad Bhagavatam affirms this. Naitat samha charijatu manasapi hyanishvaram vinhashyat chacharan modyadyata ruja vicham visham ishvaranham vachasatyam tathaiva charitam kvachit tesham yat swavacho yuktam bodhimhams tat samhacharit. One should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and his empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, One should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva. Bhagavatam 10:33-30. We should always consider the position of the Ishvaras, or those who can actually control the movements of the sun and moon, as superior. Without such power, one cannot imitate the Ishvaras, who are super powerful. Lord Shiva drank poison to the extent of swallowing an ocean. But if any common man tries to drink even a fragment of such poison, he will be killed. There are many pseudo-devotees of Lord Shiva who want to indulge in smoking ganja, marijuana, and similar intoxicating drugs, forgetting that by so imitating the acts of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. Similarly, there are some pseudo-devotees of Lord Krishna who prefer to imitate the Lord in his Rasa Lila, or dance of love, forgetting their inability to lift Govardhan Hill. It is best, therefore, that one not try to imitate the powerful, but simply follow their instructions. Nor should one try to occupy their posts without qualification. Let's reread that. It is best, therefore, that one not try to imitate the powerful, but simply follow their instructions. Nor should one try to occupy their posts without qualification. There are so many, quote, incarnations, end quote, of God without the power of the Supreme Godhead. Okay, so we've read a few verses now. You can kind of get a mood for what's being talked about. Is there anything that comes to mind for you guys? Anything that stands out in particular? Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was wondering if maybe you could share some of your thoughts on. I understand that this chapter, obviously, the last couple of verses we've read, especially, are talking about work, and Krishna saying, I'm God, and even I do some work. But if someone was familiar with the Gita, and they know that coming up pretty soon that he's also going to talk about the Gyanis and Sankhya Yoga. So I was wondering if someone were reading this and we're thinking, especially on a first read, you kind of put conclusions together kind of quickly, and you're reading it and say, okay, he puts Karma Yogi first. Okay, but then better than that is Jnana Yogi, and even best is Bhakti Yogi. But obviously, there's a huge stress placed on work, like work in devotion. And I don't know if I phrased that as a question per se. Maybe you understand what I'm trying to get at.
Well, you put it nicely. Was there a question?
I'm basically just asking, how can we reflect on the outline that Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita in terms of, I understand that he's often saying, okay, if you can't do that, do this. But if you can't do that, at least do this. So, Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and especially not just Arjuna, but the average person, the average Joe Schmo, he's got a job, maybe a family. He's got all kinds of duties that he has to do. So I guess, how does this fit into the bigger picture of there are different types of people, and so that's how we make sense of this? Or, if somebody's a little more advanced, they're going to go straight to Jnana Yoga, or?
Yeah. Well, there's work in all that we do, even in the avoidance of work. there's still work that goes into that endeavor. So we can't get away from work. We're serving something at all times, whether it's our stomach or, our boss, our wife, our dog. You see everyone walking their dogs, but really it's their dog walking them. They're serving their dog, picking up the poop, and spending so much money on lavishing the animal, grooming it, and in so many other ways, they're serving their pets who are situated much lower than them in terms of the designation that they find themselves in. Right. So we're serving everything around us all the time that we choose to put our focus on. We're acting all the time in all that we do. So there are different work that are prescribed to different kinds of people based on their natures. And this is what's so nice about the system of Varnashram Dharma, is that everyone has a purpose within society. Everyone knows their duty. There's no spending half your life trying to find your purpose, at which point you're too old to really begin any kind of real progress in that field. But more or less, that's what's happening today. I know I have a person in my life who is literally just now beginning their life doing what they think that they want to do, even though that's subject to change so quickly. We're just whimsically accepting and rejecting what we think is favorable for us. But when we're basing this off of the scriptural injunctions that have been revealed to us through the representative of the Lord, through the Shastra, through the sadhus, if we're taking guidance and if we're taking stock of proper guidance, then we can be sure that the directions that we're moving in are right. It's said in the Gita, ye shastra vidam utsrija vartate kamakarataha. And this means one who is whimsically accepting and rejecting the scriptural injunctions, they attain neither peace nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So this is the effect of one who's, acting out of their own volition in accordance of what feels good to them at that given time. You have something to say? Oh, sure.
Maharaj, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's saying, you should love me, but we may not have love for God. So if we don't have love for God, then Krishna says, perform the principles of Bhakti Yoga. And if you can't do that, like some people, they can't follow the regular two principles. They're unable to, but they can give some portion of their work, like they work at some job, and instead of taking all the money for themselves, for their family, they can also give some of that for Krishna's service, so that way they make spiritual advancement from that position. And if they can't do that, then they can think of Krishna somehow or other. They can come and do some service for Krishna. Maybe they don't have any money, they can come and sweep the floor, wash some dishes, or something. So there's so many ways to serve Krishna. And if someone is in the Varnashram system, and even if he's a Shudra, it doesn't make any difference whether he's a Shudra, or a Vaishya, or a Kshatriya, or a Brahmana. If he does it for Krishna, he gives the results to Krishna. And by following the Varnashram system, it's such a perfect social system, it's designed by Krishna, that they make spiritual progress. Of course, if they act in Bhakti Yoga, that's better, the spiritual master is a guide. And if they're not quite on that level yet to be able to accept a spiritual master, they can work under the brahmanas' guidance. And that way they make progress automatically. Because, for example, a kshatriya, he has to consult with the brahmanas before he does important things. He doesn't just act whimsically, even though he's very powerful. He doesn't do that. So he doesn't do that because he knows that the Brahmins are guided by the Vedas and they behave according to the Vedas. They're peaceful, they control their senses, they're clean, they don't become angry so easily. They control their senses. So many things. And that's why when you have a judge, when we're choosing judges, we try to choose those who are very deliberate and clean, and they don't get out carousing at night and drinking, speaking roughly. You wouldn't want that person as a judge. You want someone who listens carefully and cares. So this is all in the process of serving Krishna. If one can't do this, you can do that. And even down to the point where even if one just reads about it, reads the book, that's also service. Hearing or he chants a little bit, that's service. So these things help one to advance. That's how Krishna is very liberal. He wants everyone to take it up. Not that if one can't surrender fully, he's lost. Whatever stage we're at, Krishna wants us to keep going forward. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj, for sharing with us. The last one of the last verses we read, chapter 3, text 30. So, Nine Sarvana Karmani Sadhyanas Yadhyatma Shri Sankarashi Nivalogu Dvadyasva Ekachvaraha. And Krishna says that certainly all who works unto me without desire for gain, free from egoism, lethargy, fight. Throw out this hesitation to any the mind of doing duty and to simply work, serve in accordance with the way that Krishna sees fit, and not in a way that we deem is favorable for our own self-development, but in the way that he has prescribed himself in accordance with his wild system. The power of saints created by Krishna, it's a perfect system. Listening to gradually purify water and form up into a higher form of existence. With our mind intent on supreme destination is only attained through following certain rules and regulations, even after one has crossed beyond the solid bhakti process. It's still said in the Narada Tantra Ashram, or Narada Bhakti Sutra,
This one was it's a yellow book with Narmadi on the cover. It said in the 10th verse of that book that even after one has attained all perfections by dint of sorrow, their spiritual discipline process recognizes something that's blossomed, come to fruition, fruit of bhakti yoga. After that, tasted, literally must follow the rules and regulations, scripture injunctions, and na sanha siyam bhagavati nasukam paramitin. This is the only way to attain peace, happiness, and supreme destination. Like that. So actually, every occupation he takes is ultimately meant to supreme liberation. This is spoken about in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 1, chapter 2, where it says there are 4 verses to talk about Dharma, the supreme occupation of humanity. The first one is saying, and it was recently referenced in the Bhagavatam class. The first one says, without unmotivated and uninterrupted emotional service, well, there's no way, there's no chance of ever completely satisfying us. So when our action is done, any kind of desire to receive something back, then what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up for incomplete satisfaction. And satisfaction can really only ever be complete. It can really only ever be fulfilled through the rendering of loving transcendental service to God, to Krishna, to become fully conscious in all of our acts without interruption, without duration. That's something that's been right now once proceeded to completely satisfy the self. So this is done by rendering transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of God, Lord Shri Krishna. And by doing this, one attains causeless knowledge and detachment from this world, this worldly predicament that we're in this world.
So my question for you is, and everyone else here, do you find it difficult to, or challenging to not be attached to any result? Like, oh, I hope this goes well, or I hope this doesn't do this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just, letting the result be Krishna's and just focusing on the work. Because it seems so simple. However, the mind, the way it's set up, and the way we're programmed in this world, in this modern time especially, it's all about the results,
Yeah, this is why the emphasis is just put on serving Krishna. And then what happens as a byproduct of that service to Krishna, sincere service to Krishna that's both uninterrupted and unmotivated. The natural result of that is causeless knowledge and detachment from this world. Janayat yashu vairagyam jnanam chayara haitukam. So we come to the platform of being uninterrupted before we come to the platform of being unmotivated. So if we can at least join the program of becoming a sadhaka, of putting our immediate desires aside in place of this newly established intelligence of what I see in the hearts of other people or in the lives of other people who are undergoing this sadhana bhakti, the results of putting my own desires aside in place of something greater is seen in the people who are already doing it. And this is a really big faith building thing for us. And this is how faith develops in the observance of other people who are doing the process. People who are doing the process of bhakti yoga, who are following the rules and regulations strictly, taking up this process seriously. They're very impressive people. It's like maybe not everyone is bringing that same kind of energy to it, but we can understand who's serious and who's not just by simple observation. And in the lives of people who are serious, look at what Krishna has done in their life. Look at the doors that he's opened. and in the ways in which he's empowered them and how much they have to give. And shouldn't we want that for ourselves too? And isn't that a testament to the process and how much it works, how effective it really is? So like anything else, if I tell you that that chair will hold your weight, you're eventually going to have to believe that for yourself and build up the trust to try it out. But if you see me do it enough, if you see me sit in that chair enough, then eventually you'll start to really have some sort of conviction that develops. And oh, that chair, it does hold its weight. Maybe it holds my weight too. There's no reason it shouldn't, And then the trust is developed, and trust is the bridge from faith to experience, right?
So the key thing is, well, couple, first experience, like you said, we won't know until we actually go through that path. But also to look at those who are already in the Krishna consciousness, who are unattached to any result whatsoever, and see the path that they follow. And it's like,
Yeah, let that purify us, and then it's not so scary. It's not so hard because we're holding ourselves up on their strength, on their conviction. That's what we're taking shelter. That's what that means, is to give up any idea that I know what's best for me, to surrender my intelligence, to surrender to someone else using my intelligence. We keep our intelligence. This is a necessary part of our development in spiritual life. We have to maintain our intelligence because it's been given to us by God. It's impure right now. This was spoken a little bit about in the last class. We have to purify our intelligence, and we do this through, to put it quite frankly, and though it's difficult to hear, we do this through the acceptance of authority. That's really the only way to purify our intelligence, and we should be careful about the authority that we accept. In the sense that, authorities, we might not always like our authority, but just we shouldn't live off the surface of, oh, this person makes me feel like this, and therefore I'm not going to listen to him. But we should use our intelligence once again to discriminate and see how serious is this person actually about Krishna consciousness. How serious are they? And if they're serious, if they're showing up to the programs, if they're chanting nice japa, if you're watching them, if you're watching this evolution within their heart, or if you're watching the purification, if you're seeing them come up to a higher standard day after day, then you should be very encouraged by that. But even if you see something in your superior that is concerning to you, this is something that we like to do, right? Find faults. And we do this because by our conditioned nature, we're very envious, especially of our authorities. But mostly of our peers, even more so of our peers, we find a lot of envy between those, in those relationships. But we'll find envy anywhere we look. If we're looking for faults, then we'll find faults. And the thing about this is, I was reading a conversation with Prabhupada, and it was a conversation between Harikesh Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Guru Das was there, and Harikesh was saying, well, what if my temple authority, what if he's not following? I know for a fact he's not chanting his rounds. I know for a fact he's doing this when he should be doing that. And Prabhupada said, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, actually. Actually, that is not it's not your business at all, actually, to worry about whether he's following or whether he's not following. All that will come to light and will be corrected by the spiritual master in time, if it needs to be. But actually, temple president, he said specifically, no matter if they're following properly or doing the things in the way that you think they should, they're actually a representative of the guru, who's a representative of Krishna. Therefore, the order that we get from the temple president is not different than the order that we get from Krishna. Think about that. And Prabhupada was saying, despite whether he's even following the rules and regulations, all of that will be taken care of in time. That doesn't change the fact that you are to follow. You're to follow orders. and to take them seriously. As your duty, we have to develop a sense of duty. Otherwise, what do we have? What do we have to give to the people who are coming into this movement? What do we have to hold on to ourselves? And what kind of how we're turning our back on the people who have tried to help us, who are our seniors, our superiors. We're not developing, cultivating that sense of duty, then we're missing Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. We have to show up for this movement. It's going to happen with or without us, but we should hold on to every little bit of service that we get. And something I've noticed in the speech of those who are senior, who have walked so far down the path that we're trying to tread ourselves, is that when they speak of their superiors, right? We should always have superiors, no matter where we're at in devotional service. We should always be looking up to someone. And like I'm thinking of one instance in particular where Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he was kind of towards the end of his manifest pastime here on this earth. This is a really ecstatic personality, special, unique individual, and he's on his departure bed, getting ready to leave this world, and he's pretty much he's going through what's called Nirjan Bhajan, which means you've pretty much like secluded yourself from the whole world. He took a step back from letting people in his room, from answering emails, from looking at news, current events. Like he was just totally immersed internally in his bhajan to Lord Krishna, but he was still maintaining contact with the very first superior that he got put under, which was Satsarup Das Goswami Maharaj in Dallas. Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, he went to go serve in the Dallas temple in the Gurukul in the early 70s to assist Satsarup Das Goswami. And this was a relationship that just got so much sweeter over time, and really opened my eyes about how this relationship we have to our seniors, it doesn't need to be, it should be something that we cherish and that we never want to give up. And that on our departure bed, before we leave this world, we're thinking about how fortunate we were to serve such a great soul in this capacity or that capacity. Or, he wasn't thinking about how he should have been, how the roles should have been reversed. No, he was as humble as ever. So this humility goes right in line with the advancement that we make, and we should strive to keep the humility. That's the most important thing, to let that develop and let it bring us closer to our superiors who want what's best for us. We have to believe that they want what's best for us. And if something is really concerning, I made the point that whether they're following or not, we should still follow them. Prabhupada speaks very strongly like that in this conversation. I can find it for anyone who's interested. But also, it's not that we follow the blind man who is leading us straight into the ditch either. We have our intelligence. So if something is seriously wrong, actually seriously wrong, or something's being asked of us that's just not right, then there are other steps that can be taken. Like, you can go to that person's superior, explain the situation, ask for clarity. Hey, is this right? Something doesn't feel right about this, right? So once again, it's not that we're ever just surrendering our intelligence and becoming a yes man. That's not going to please Krishna either, but it's taking into consideration his instructions of us. And in this case, within the verses that we read tonight, we're seeing how important it is to do our duty even despite whatever kind of situation we're in. Whether we're above the work or not, we should still enact it, because yad yad acharati shreshtas. Whatever action is performed by a great man, common men follow in his footsteps. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So we should be okay with following, and we should love to follow those men who actually are great, and we should welcome that surrender into our life. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. So we can wrap it up there unless anyone has any points of discussion, questions. But we are over time, so I thank you guys for listening and for tolerating. And oh, sure, yes, Mataji.
I was just thinking that sometimes you can, even though you are listening to all these instruction, you can feel lost. You can feel, you are listening, you are doing many years, you are doing all these things, and you just, for some reason, you just feel lost in between the devotees. What would you recommend to this person if it feels like this? Somehow, you just don't feel the taste.
You don't feel the taste. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. Maharaj, if you're on, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Is he still on? He's not, no. Okay. I mean, I guess what comes to mind for me is, and I'd like to say that I'm in no position to answer such a thoughtful question, but if I absolutely had to, then I guess I would just speak to the importance of maintaining that enthusiasm, even despite all odds that we feel are against us, whatever our situation might be. Just trying to remain enthusiastic and patient and know that Krishna sees the work that we're doing and he's accepting all of our service. And he's so pleased by it. And he's so merciful to do that, to accept whatever it is that we offer him with love and devotion. If we can just keep our eyes fixed on that as the goal of going back to him and of making him happy, even if that means us staying here in such a what feels like a difficult atmosphere or difficult situation. That if that's what he wants, then just to pray to him for the strength to carry on in whatever ways please him and please our spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. So
Nice, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.